Weak characters come with a built-in excuse. True. I mean, I saw this topic on my timeline, and I thought it was quite funny. I think a lot of people don't read. Question for the fighting game people out there. If you really want to win or be a really good player, why do you pick weaker or not as effective characters? I see some people mad about losing or tilted, but then they play like Anji or Faust. I've never understood this, honestly. The angle is, if you're aiming to be a competitive player with success at events, Clown Nose Apology Man.jpg. You mean this one? That's like an example of someone who fits into this category. This question is for like 100 people or something, right? It's not very many people overall that this applies to. But I think most of you in the chat, if you play a character who's not the best, the reason you play them is you probably like them, right? I think most of us play the characters that we like in games because we think they're cool. You want your character to be good because you like your character. You think they're fun to play, and you just enjoy playing them. So them being good is great because that means, you know, character you like is strong. As far as picking a character that is not as strong for a tournament environment, like what is the value in doing that as a competitor? I've played a lot of fighting games and I used to compete a lot, right? And when I did compete, I've played some characters that are really strong and I played some characters that are kind of bad. And the games where I played characters that were kind of bad in, I ended up understanding and playing that game with a level of like sort of comfort and knowledge that did not exist for me in games where I played a much stronger character. If my character is weaker, there are fewer things that I can just bully my way through with strong tools. If you play a weaker character, you cannot get away with that. You will very quickly run into walls where you're like, okay, I need a real answer to this scenario, something I really truly have to think about. The other thing is people will not believe in your character, so they'll tell you your character's whack and stuff. So you have to have belief in your own character and in yourself to pilot the character to success, even if the character you're playing is the best character in the game. If you don't believe in them, if you think they have a bunch of weaknesses or you hate certain things about them or you're mad about them all the time, you're going to struggle. That lack of belief in your own character will make it so that instead of looking for ways to improve, you'll be like, man, I'm sure many of you have had this experience. Like LK made a quote tweet thread about this where he talked about playing a weaker character in a game and switching to a stronger character and how his results like skyrocketed. And part of the reason that he did so much better was not just because he picked a strong character, but because playing a weaker character improved his understanding and knowledge about the game. You're forced to come up with better solutions than when you play a top tier character and the solution is just like, oh, my strong tool covers this option. Nice. That has happened to me in many, many games. And conversely, I usually try to do the opposite in many games as well. Like if I play a character in a game that is incredibly strong, I don't always pick up like side or pocket characters specifically for this, but I always try some DLC characters, some other characters, because inevitably one of them is not going to be very good, right? And when you play the game through that lens, you gain a new perspective about the game. You're like, oh man, I don't actually know what my answer is for this scenario. I don't know what the answer is if this option doesn't work. And it presents to you new challenges and new ideas that then help improve your overall understanding of the game, problem solving, and strategizing around an idea. My objective is not to win in the video game in Guilty Gear Strive. My objective is to gain more knowledge of the game. And part of that, every time I learn a new character and I learn a new scenario and I'm thinking about it, I'm like, man, I wouldn't have thought about this probably if I just played Soul and was like, okay, I have a good answer. And I just do this and I'm just chilling. Sometimes I think playing weak characters causes players to not learn solid strategies because the character doesn't encourage or benefit from them. It depends on the character. That could be true, but I also think conversely, sometimes if you play a strong character, you might just not improve very much because you just mash on all the good options of your character and your actual strength as a player or strategizing or like improvement gets stuffed by the fact that your character just lets you do stuff. It could be both. You know what I mean? I noticed a lot of the people I know who pick strong characters in every game, they're like, I'm always going to pick a strong character and I don't care about anything else. A lot of those players I know are really flowcharty. They just do strong things over and over and they don't look at the screen. And when they play like powerful characters, they get frustrated or they're like, I don't know what to do because this is just what they do. They learn strong things and they mash on the strong things and they work a lot of the times, right? But again, you have to remember that Noon's point is not about casual play. Noon specifically asks about if there's any benefits or like why you would pick up a character who's weaker for a tournament environment. I think the answer is most people don't pick up a character thinking they're going to be weak. They learn them and then it turns out they're weaker. And by learning that weaker character, you got to spend a lot of time investing in trying to learn better stuff about the game and really improve yourself. And then if that doesn't work, and then you're like, okay, I've hit this wall, you have a few options. You can continue to try to grind that character and hope for buffs or hope for things to change in the game, or you can continue to try to grind to improve yourself and just get better and better and just fight through it. Or you can learn a new character, like just be like, all right, I'm going to learn another character, or learn a pocket character. A lot of people, I always learn pocket characters if my main character is bad. And it depends on the person. Some people cannot pick up secondary characters or additional characters very quickly. Some people do. If your character is very strong, playing weaker characters is, I think, important to ground you and give you perspective about what your actual strong answers are. Because sometimes when you play a character, you know, you like forget how useful or strong some tool you have is, and then when you play without it, you're like, good lord, how do people survive without this this option? Is so good. I think there's a lot of advantages and disadvantages to playing weak characters that can help you improve, and playing strong characters that can make you autopilot or have issues. And like, there's merit to both. I think you learn different things from both. My advice though is, whether you pick a strong character or a weak character, pick a character that you believe in and you enjoy. If you play a character that you don't like, whether they are strong or whether they are weak, you will suffer. You're going to have a bad time. That shit's going to suck. You're not going to have fun. The game's going to feel like a chore to you. It's better to pick a character that you really like than to try to maximize picking the strongest character you can, because you will not enjoy the process of grinding and improving with them. You know, Happy Chaos versus Gold Lewis is bad, but I don't mind playing it that much. This is not a big deal. It could be so much worse. I played characters that are so dog shit in matchups that are so bad that I'm like, why the fuck did why does this game exist? Like, why did they think it was gonna happen, huh? Matchups where like the winning answer from my opponent is so incredibly simple, and like my answers to it are so not great, that I'm like, I guess it's over. Cause like in this game, a lot of characters' worst options are so much better than like the best options that I had in old games. Yeah, I could play a 6-4 with good tools, and then the old games, you're playing awful matchups with just bad, inconsistent tools that you're like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Also, to talk about this tweet, this meme that Noon posted, I've never felt this way about a video game and not just stop playing it. I actually stopped playing Injustice 1 because I just didn't like playing it anymore competitive. I was like, this game is not, I don't have fun playing this game. I was mad about making top 8, which was a sign to me that I should not play the game anymore. Can you get this shit off the screen? Yeah. I stopped playing League of Legends because the people I played with were just not having fun ever. I didn't mind. I liked playing the game. I thought it was a fun game to play, but the people I played with just were so unhappy all the time. And then they were like much happier people playing a different game. So I was like, cool, this is great. I know you may be like, but no, it's not for you. That's not good for your life. Why are you spending time doing? It's like a fucking job. You like show up every day, not happy to be there. The only value is like, you're like, I guess I can survive because I have money. Like, it's a video game, right? Like, you should not feel that way. Play something else, or figure out how to have fun with the game. Listen. The worst matchups to me, though, in any game are the matchups when you play a bad character and people tell you it's not so bad. And you're like, I'm pretty sure this is actually very bad. And then you like study it for your whole life and they never think about the matchup ever. And then you're like, no, it's pretty bad. And they're like, I don't know. Been thinking about this matchup every single day. And then I came back, I've got nothing. And they're like, it's probably fine.